If you were to search for artwork by Bryan Charnley, what follows is a collection of unhinged and chaotic scenes, a shocking yet gripping insight into the world of mental disintegration.
Pause the video. I said pause this shit. Now, pause it, you Swedish bitch. Okay, good. So the Taliban told the USA to get our troops out by August 31 Saint or something will happen. Biden bends over and Afghans still all their dicks in him. Fuck you, Biden.
Alright.
Unmistakable use of extreme and sometimes violent surrealism is very recognizable in the world of outsider art. But the work that stands out to most people is his 17 final self-portraits alongside a diary that document a tragic story about his struggles living with schizophrenia right up until his final days before committing suicide in July 1991. In this video, we are going to explore the mind of this troubled yet talented artist, as well as the final self-portraits that reflected a mind so desperately in decline.
I think I've already seen something of this one.
Bryan John Charnley was born on the
man.
20th of September 1949 in Stockton-on-Tees. With his twin brother, he grew up in London, Chislehurst in Kent, Cranfield, where his father worked as a senior lecturer, and finally in Bronham near Bedford. The frailty of Charnley's mind was made evident at an early age. In the summer of 1968, aged 18, he suffered a nervous breakdown but was able to study at Leicester School of Art later that year. He gained a place at the Central School of Art and Design in Holborn, 1969, but was unable to complete the course due to another breakdown later diagnosed as acute schizophrenia. This uncontrollable mental condition would cling to him for the rest of his life. From 1971 until 1977, he lived at home with his parents between periods of hospitalization and treatments, including ECT. In 1978, he moved to Bedford and began painting. The first paintings were representational works, including large flower paintings. From 1982 onwards, his work began to address his inner life, such as dreams and mental states, particularly in the nature of schizophrenia. Charnley's work would begin to receive some recognition within the London art scene throughout the 1980s. However, the little recognition that he received was outweighed by the day-to-day problems of his illness and the heavy medication that he was prescribed to counter it. Another stem of his delicate mental health towards the end could be linked with his relationship to Pam Jones, who featured in one of his most famous paintings called Pam and I in 1982. Due to suffering mental illness herself, she attempted to commit suicide in 1987 by jumping out of a window. Although she survived, the fall caused serious damage to her spine. The incident would deeply affect Charnley, which was made apparent in his later painting called Leaving by the Window, which served to replay the traumatic scene of the event. The beginning of Bryan Charnley's final work and mental decline was marked by this simple and formal self-portrait signed on the 11th of April 1991. In addition to this, Charnley was encouraged by sane mental health charity executive Marjorie Wallace to keep a diary that would also help explain the imagery. The entry that Charnley provided for this portrait is as follows. Conventional portrait painted in 2 sittings. Is it a good likeness? Drug dosage was 2 3mg tablets of Dipixol daily, plus 2 25mg of tryptosol. I was sleeping a lot. As you can see, the signs of a powerful, unpredictable mental state is drastically evident in this portrait compared to the first one. In Charnley's diary, he wrote the following entry. The person upstairs was reading my mind and speaking back to me to keep me in a sort of ego crucifixion. I felt this because I was discharging very strong vibrations which could easily be interpreted. I tried to express this in the painting. The large rabbit here is because I was confused and extremely sensitive to human voices, like a wild animal. The next portrait, completed on the 23rd of April, takes on a very uneasy and bewildering turn. The portrait is done in a very primitive style, virtually unrecognizable to Charnley's previous paintings, displaying a characterless face with eyes and mouth crossed out, as well as what appears to be 2 dates that have also been crossed out. The face is surrounded by a disordered array of different colours and shapes, possibly to reflect the madness of the world around him. In his diary, Charnley entered the following: I had come to the conclusion that most people around me had some extrasensory perception ability which gave them access to my mind. In this respect, I was like a blind man, hence the crosses on the eyes. They also let me know verbally what they had picked up from my thoughts. I was like a dumb man in this respect, and hence the cross over the mouth. I crossed out dates because I was becoming obsessed that I'd taken 2 sittings rather than 1 on the first portrait. The following day, Charnley completed his next portrait that would continue to express his mental collapse. What is featured is a face, again done in a primitive style, that appears to have a mouth drawn over with opposite expressions several times, with a smoking pipe resting out of it. The face is surrounded by black horn-like shapes, apparently the horns of extrasensory perception, functioning as grinning mouths, possibly reflecting the feeling that people are constantly watching and constantly smiling in a menacing way. The most shocking feature in the painting lies within the head of a portrait, which is the blood of Charnley himself, indicating the sheer desperation of his mental state at the time. In his diary, Charnley advised the following: the spots on the brain of the head are real blood to try and get over the mental pain I was experiencing. I was smoking heavily, hence the pipe. No eyes to see what is really going on, and a stitched up mouth. The blood is my own. I stabbed the base of my thumb, not the kind of thing you're able to do on the tranquilizers. Still on only 1 tablet of Tapixol and a sleeping pill, but no, I cannot go on much longer. The next portrait, dated on the 29th of April, shows a manic scene of disjointed facial features and beams of colour. The phrase "love is strange" can clearly be seen in the far right hand side of the painting, yet another phrase underneath it appears to be hastily painted over, possibly due to the overly compulsive nature of Charnley's mental condition. A cigarette can also be seen in the painting, continuing a theme of subsequently being crossed out. This is made more clear in Charnley's diary.
Alright.
Things had...
I'm not super interested. Alright, I'm fucking good, man. I'm fucking good. Juked M, thank you, man. Juggling Jaguar, thank you for the 14 gifted, my man. Boop. If you liked the video, make sure to leave a like and a comment on what you want to see next.